We got into some unusual products tonight. Not our favorites, but we tried to save the day. We got this Revlon Color Stay Full Cover Foundation in the shade True Beige, which, just like yesterday's foundation, it's a little bit cool for my complexion. I thought I could save the day by getting into a bronzer, our beloved Avani Greg Morphe Hawaii Vacation, right? It's a sort of luminous bronzer, but I'm not a fan of how orange it looks. We also popped on a bit of Jaclyn Hill highlighter on top. So we're looking very, very unusual, right? The temptation is great to take our beauty sponge and kind of tap off some of this foundation and bronzer color just so that we're not having colors on our face that look so, shall we say, creative. But yeah, people are trying to ban TikTok. There are all sorts of universities across the US that are making the choice to ban TikTok on the campuses of Auburn University, University of Oklahoma, University of Idaho, and then there's multiple people, Congress members, bipartisan Congress members who are trying to ban TikTok. Now, I'm a late adopter to TikTok. I enjoy TikTok. There's a whole big black girl follow train on TikTok right now, so it's making it extra exciting and super interesting to see, a lot of black women showing out. The most interesting thing I saw today was it was a, what do you call it? A duet between a woman who was in her house playing Mariah Carey and Busta Rhymes' Baby You Can Give It to Me song, like the bass line and the melody with household products. So she was using an aerosol can and glasses of water filled to various heights so that she could play the melody. Literally the most creative thing I've ever seen on TikTok and on social media. And the other person was just watching her do it. And I was like, damn, that's what happens when black people get on TikTok for real, like creating really unique content. We all know about the controversies about the dance trends being stolen. And I think they ask a valid question. Why are other communities not creating dance trends, right? You certainly have plenty of Russians, plenty of Irish, plenty of, I don't know what country it is where the men all link arms and go like this with a handkerchief or a towel and kind of dance. It looks like a wedding dance, but that's a trend. Why isn't that trend catching on? If you're gonna steal dances and not credit creators, and I think the critique was that a lot of people who are not of color are able to build careers and profit from the creations and creativity of people of color. Hi, Kylie. What's going on? Just trying to take some of this crazy orange makeup off. But that's what's going on TikTok. There's a lot of interesting drama, and I've certainly been able to grow my following nearly to double just in the last couple of days. There's been a little bit of difficulty with women who are mixed race black being accepted onto the follow train. There's been some complaining from women who are not of color about women of color organizing this way, but you've seen Latinas as well as white women create their own follow trains. So look, if more people are getting empowered to get their TikTok on, that's not a bad thing. It's a different kind of platform than YouTube. I like long form on YouTube, but for going live in a really raucous international way, there's different song selections, there's like a really different energy. And depending on the side of TikTok you're on, it can get very raunchy, it can get very dance, it can get very risque, it can get very political. There's book talk, there's stock talk. There's a lot more segmenting than I would have thought was there. But I do know that other, people who run platforms, they're kind of interested in TikTok going away. I can understand why. But, across the board, we're all just trying to experiment with these platforms, get our numbers up, work on whatever it is that we're trying to be creative with. My ambition actually is to paint live on TikTok. That's where I'm trying to get too during this vacation period, and I hope I can make it. I've been being annoyed by people, from work and other kinds of things, like contacting me to try to interrupt my productivity, right? Because it does take a lot of energy to be on camera. It takes a lot of like patience to sit, do your makeup, work on your lighting, try not to freak out about how weird you look, you know, about the filters that might make you look orange, but just to really kind of own what it is that's going on, try to improve your production protocol, pull out a camera, think about editing, figure out whether it's CapCut or Final Cut or Canva, all these different things that can give you a better creative output. But, it kind of is all in your hands. And I feel like a lot of people disrespect. This is like a metal comb. I did get some e.l.f. brow product. Oh, thank you so much. I try. I really try. I'm actually kind of annoyed with some conversations I had to have today. So I'm trying to power through, right? Really treat this like a job, right? You got to get into it every day and, create some discussions and content. But thank you. It's really nice to see, people show up to these, what can be very lonely lives, you know. But, I've certainly enjoyed watching a lot of YouTube and my favorite YouTubers, and I'm always kind of checking in on what they're doing. And it is, to me, much more compelling viewing than some of the more traditional like sitcoms and stuff, just because, yeah, in very short order, you can get on it and do it yourself, right? Develop your own voice, develop like a bunch of things that you want to talk about, and, see where you can take it from there, right? I am feeling like, ooh, maybe it's time to get like a vlogging camera or something that can create a frame and dimension around my face. Like, I am trying to get better with my lighting setup and not blow out, have the lighting too bright, but I always end up shooting at night, which is very naughty of me, right? That's the beauty look. This is one of my holiday gift carnations. I've already been, asked about work in the new year, and so many projects, so many things to do, so many visits to make, and I'm just trying to be disciplined about sitting down and doing it, and making sure that I'm conducting research and I'm creating some content that's unique and of the moment. And there's a whole discussion around like people who've used like hair straighteners, chemical hair straighteners, and it maybe has caused cancer for some people. There's a lawsuit that's recruiting across social media, so I went live on TikTok to talk about that. I could go live on Instagram to talk about it. Not sure, maybe I will. Any advice for the new year? Yes. Definitely think about your safety, your money, and your happiness. And if things and people and jobs and experiences don't contribute to that, then you have to limit that, right? It's just too important to hold on to our health, our mental health, and, be doing things that achieve things for ourselves, our family, our safety, our future, right? All these people who want you to run the streets and risk your health, run the streets and risk your life. It's not worth it, right? Really give yourself the gift of paring down your activity, paring down your world to the things that are very, very, very important to you. And you are going to get pushback about it, but I'm kind of living it. I could be running the streets. I could be up and down across the United States and the world, but I'm sitting right here concentrating on growing my social media, because for me, this is actually potentially work covered by my union, right? So if I can get this kind of going, then it'll be an alternative revenue stream that can allow me to step away from certain kinds of work I do on set, but still, kind of reap the benefits of earning in this way. It's kind of, I feel like people think it's vanity that I'm obsessed with watching, myself put on makeup, but it's not that. I am trying to create value in this space and it's important to me. And if you have things, whether it's painting or writing or running or yoga or, expanding your family, take it seriously and give it the value and the importance that it has to you, even if other people don't understand it. Because, a lot of people who don't believe and achieve for themselves are very eager and interested in taking pot shots at other people. That's how I'll put it. I have any number of people who like to, watch my social media. They don't follow it. They don't like it. They don't, comment, but they watch it and then they want to make smart remarks about it in front of me, which I think is graceless. But that tells you a little bit about some of the people that I work around. This is the Avani Greg Lil Beb mini lip gloss kit. I've never even tried it before, but as I'm looking at this lip color, I'm wondering if a little something shiny on top might enhance it, right? It could go terrible wrong, but if we get it on our finger and try it, there's nothing wrong with that, right? A little experiment. We're at home. We just happen to be on camera, right? In the natural, we would just be in the bathroom, trying something a little different, a little unique. So if we get it on our silicone sponge, right, and not get lipstick on the applicator, this is a very thick preparation. I wonder if this will pull off the lip color more than it'll apply the gloss. Let's see, right? Doesn't have any kind of scent. This is what it's looking like on the sponge. Oh, that gives us some glow. And it's a very finely milled glitter. It feels nice and it smells nice. Right? Imagine you're on what is it? A visit to all the Christmas lights around town. Whether it's Candy Cane Lane or the new Candy Cane Lane, right? An ice skating trip. Maybe you're going to the gym like you've supposed to have been doing. I am actually wearing a brown lip liner and one of the Maybelline New York Superstay ink crayons. They say this shade, Enjoy the View, is supposed to be a dupe for Charlotte Tilbury's Pillow Talk. And this is what it looks like. It, to me, is a little bit more coral, a little bit more pinky red, but it does give you a satin finish. And then as you see, I've just added this Avani Greg. It's a clear gloss with a little bit of shimmer in it. And that's what it's looking like. I'm not a big fan of matte lipsticks with a lot of gloss on top. Like, I tend to like a more natural look, but I do try to kind of work through my stash and see if complexion products are going to show me love, if lip combos are going to show me love, because, some things are not the best, but it's also a question of figuring out how to make them work so you don't look utterly crazy. Oftentimes we're at the mercy of makeup artists who they do their best. And, part of this process is to learn how to do our best with what we have and, what we can afford, right? I listen to all those lists talking about the best lip products, the best high-end foundations and all of that. And I think that's interesting. But realistically, I have to, own the fact that I have accumulated a lot of makeup. I'm still investigating it. Full cover matte foundation. It could have been a warmer shade. I do have some shade adjusting drops around. I could have underpainted contour. I could have added, the e.l.f. Halo Glow to it in a darker shade to underpaint it, but I don't think it looks utterly insane. You always want to avoid that face utterly different than neck look. And that's why I brought in this bronzer that before I pulled off a lot of it with this beauty sponge, it looked so streaky and orange on my face. And some people say use a kabuki brush to blend everything. But honestly, the brush is going to be taking off some of the product. Maybe that's part of what you want to do. You want to look at the makeup on your face, decide if you like all of it. And if you don't, just use either a sponge or a brush to zhuzh it off or pick some of it off so that it has a more kind of natural, worn in, native to your skin look, right? And figure out whether you like a pencil liner or a kind of dark shadow as liner. Maybe adding a pencil or a gel liner and setting it with a dark powder. All of these techniques are there to be experimented with so that, you can kind of operate with more intention and confidence when it is time to do something that really, really matters. Like, when you're really on like 4K cameras and it's crunch time and you don't want to worry about your beauty look. You want to feel solid, that your hair is solid, your face is solid, you smell good, and you're in good voice, and you're able to shut out the world. It's a great experience. And even doing this like kind of in the bedroom or in your beauty room, it is excellent practice for the level of focus and understanding, how your voice sounds when you're happy, how your voice sounds when you're irritated, looking at the warmth of your skin and figuring out if a particular filter is too yellow, or, deciding whether you want to have all pale objects in your space because you see how much of a black hole this black lampshade creates. But this is the lampshade we have. Whereas something like this isn't going to suck light out of your shot, right? And if you do invest in a better camera, then maybe your frame will be different, right? You always see the DPs at work running around doing this or like this. And, you kind of learn about so many things that can help you create more value for your audience. But that's sort of what's on my mind. I'm very glad that I stopped using hair straightening products, and even I think I had one perm. Not that that's necessarily a cause of health issues, but just the idea that people are pursuing this lawsuit suggests that where there's smoke, there might be fire. I certainly hope for their sake. I have a couple of colleagues who are dealing with the big C right now, on top of the global panini, on top of RSV, on top of the regular flu, on top of, you hear all this talk about scarlet fever and strep throat. Maybe being in our homes by ourselves. You're asking a question about whether TikTok will actually be banned. I think it's a question of political will, right? I don't think that the current president, the leadership in the Senate want to do it. I think that this bipartisan set of legislators in the House are trying it. If nothing else, it's because the news cycle cannot be controlled on TikTok because the leadership doesn't reside in the US, right? Unlike, I believe Elon Musk lives here, but there are interests and elites around the world who, the hearsay is, they gave him the money to go to Twitter and destroy its ability to show you what's really happening on the ground in Iran, what's really happening on the ground in China, to turn those faucets off so that Twitter just becomes, much less than it was, because, there were a lot of moments where TikTok and Twitter kind of revealed the truth of the global health and political, a lot of situations, like even on TikTok, like you'll be sitting there like dance video, and then there'll be like people rioting in a factory or these like protests that you never see on American news. And even the what is it, Black Lives Matter protests that never got seen on the news, you could see it on YouTube, and you could see it on Twitter, and you could see it on TikTok in a way that wasn't controlled. So I do think that there are elite and powerful interests that would like to be able to control what information people have, because, if for example, there's like strikes going on around the US, right? Like Starbucks, maybe academic, what is it, teaching assistants. There's an ambulance strike going on in the UK, where the UK government is telling people not to get drunk because there's no ambulances, right? If you knew about the level of labor unrest in the context of these astronomical profits that billionaires and corporate, it wasn't always that way, right? It wasn't always that the medical care business was as profitable as it is now. It wasn't always the case that the leaders of a company made so much more money than the average worker. I see something on TikTok where people talk about the fact that they can't survive on a minimum wage that's like $7.49. In California, minimum wage is not $7.49. One of these people who's been, trying to pursue me lives in a right to work state of Georgia, and I believe that state has a minimum wage that if it's not $7.49, it's something close to that, which, yes, cost of living is cheaper there, but these are the kinds of bits of information that what some call the controllers would rather not have people have any kind of casual access to. And if it weren't for me sitting there on TikTok trying to figure out how to dance, I wouldn't have seen this stuff, because it certainly wasn't going to pop up on the McNeil-Lehrer NewsHour or Fox News. So that's my kind of convoluted answer. I think there are people who are interested in making TikTok go away in the US, but at the same time, I think that TikTok has been an important organizing tool. They certainly have been able to, like, in groups, I think, was it a K-pop set of TikTokers that kind of messed up some of Donald Trump's rallies by requesting all the tickets, right? Because people create community on there, and they're able to do things in a digital way. And part of that sharing information, part of that sometimes is, letting people know what's really going on as opposed to what's on the news. Does that make sense? Will it go away? Is it a tool of destabilization emanating from another country? Question mark, right? I'm a little bit more fascinated by, you heard about this Republican in New York who had a completely fraudulent backstory, including like his grandparents were escaped like the Nazis of the Holocaust, and like his degrees were all fake, from Long Island, this character. And it was as if, some foreign entity, rhymes with Prussia, just came up with a paint by the numbers scenario to get this dude elected, and he's gonna be recalled because everything he ran on is a lie. So, I think at the end of the day, given what was done to exploit Facebook during the 2016 and the 2020 election, the fact that the same kind of control can't be exerted over TikTok is a thorn in the side of the people who want to make money from that. Cambridge Analytica, I don't know. If you look into it, you'll see. Like, there's something about these apps being tools of social influence and control that some people want to get more control of. They were able to take, basically put Twitter in the toilet bowl. But so far, TikTok is alive and well. My phone is telling me it's time to go to sleep. Dang. We're just getting our fun going. But in any case, I should probably rest up. I didn't complete all of my tasks today, but thank you for joining me. But yeah, I'll look into these things and we'll have further discussions maybe tomorrow. This is the makeup look, and I will catch you on my next live. I'll try to improve things. How about that? All right. Thank you for joining me. Next time. Bye.